Welcome to the Do Zone, where real entrepreneurs share real strategies about getting things done. I'm your host, Josh Thomas. Tag me at JT Literally and show me what you do in the Do Zone. Every week, I'll pick the best post to feature across all my social networks. This podcast is brought to you by Factor One. If you're a six-figure entrepreneur who's looking to hit 7 this year, there are 3 key shifts you need to make right now in order for it to be possible. Go to iamfactor1.com now, and I'll show you exactly what those 3 key shifts are and how you can get them set up for your business in less than 6 minutes. Once again, that's iamfactor1.com. Today's guest is Michelle Jacobik. As a startup consultant, motivational speaker, and author, Michelle emphasizes the business success that can emerge when an entrepreneur aligns their vision with their cash flow strategy. She helps founders avoid the financial pitfalls that are all too common when launching a venture and is an expert at empowering them to locate the profit streams that can transform a business and an entrepreneur's life. She is the best-selling author of The Path to Profits, An Entrepreneur's Guide to Having It All and Still Having a Life, and has been featured in a variety of popular media outlets, including ABC, CBS, Fox, Parents Magazine, Entrepreneur Magazine, and Thrive Global. She lives with her husband in Naples, Florida. Michelle, welcome to the Do Zone. Tell us something you believe is the key to getting stuff done that most people wouldn't think of.
I love it, Josh. We're jumping right in. It's great to be here. I will say the key for getting things done is being super intentional with setting alarms. Like, we all have the devices that we walk around with, right? That we say there are phones, but there really are computers. There are cameras. There are the way that we can limit and connect with the world at whatever level we want. And I think that being able to structurally look at your day and break things up into pieces intentionally, your business, your self-care, your relational things, and literally setting alarms around the things that you want to make sure are important to you, like right down to me taking a lunch when I found that I was like grinding and not taking a lunch, which certainly wasn't beneficial for my afternoon brain fog, or even taking care of myself in my wellness. So using things like alarms allows you to time batch and really lean into making sure that you're not missing the mark on all of the holistic places in your life as an entrepreneur, not just crushing your business.
You know, I'm 100% in agree with you on that. 100 years ago, I was actually a teacher. I taught music, and one of my earliest mentors, her name was Cheryl Floyd, and Cheryl taught me how to run a beginner class. I was teaching this trombone class of all things. I didn't play trombone, but I was a percussionist, and she taught me how to use a timer to run the class, because the class was 45 minutes long, and that's it. Okay. And so she had me set a timer for 42 minutes. And as soon as the bell rang, you start the timer and you have your agenda written there right there next to you. And so, for the first 5 minutes, we're putting the instruments together. For the next 10 minutes, we're practicing yesterday's lesson. The next 10 minutes, this. And then the last 3 minutes, you put your stuff away and you go. And that was my first experience with any kind of time blocking. And I tell you, like, just having that number in front of you and knowing what time it actually is makes all the difference in the world. So I'm just curious. The alarm went off when we hit the hour and you were on here on the podcast. So obviously it's a big part of your life.
Honestly, it's in full transparency with many people, many entrepreneurs, right, suffer from ADHD. We have squirrel syndrome, right? There's all of these labels that we have, but the truth is that they exist, and we have all of these things that are vying for our time, from email to texting, all of the things, and then our long to-do list. So for me, the alarm approach, I love what you're saying, because if I had the similar situation where a mentor had me break down my day into, just like food tracking, right? I was breaking up my time. I was doing time tracking with a sheet at my desk for 1 week. And I literally tracked in 15-minute increments. Like, it would be like, okay, here's what's going on. And then the timer would go off and I would literally just like quickly for 1 minute, write down, what did I actually do in the last 15 minutes? And what I realized was I started to see that you can get a lot done in 15 minutes when you're super focused. And you can also let a lot of time shit away in 15 minutes if you're not focused. And so being able to kind of do this analysis of like where you're putting your time, is super important. We only have so many minutes in the day, and some people use their minutes very, wisely, and other people just, they go like, yeah, where did the day go? And I just refuse to be one of those people that doesn't have my day include aligned actions with getting to the goals that I want to take. At least, and I actually, this is another tool that I use, is, I created these little sticky pads in Vision and Thrive, and it's today I'll take these top 3 actions. And then at the end, it says, and I'm grateful for. So even when I'm laying out my aligned actions, I always make sure that my top 3 land in front of me, so that these have done, and these are the first 3 non-negotiables, so that if something does go awry, because things do happen, I mean, you could just not feel well, or get a phone call that requires your attention, at least you had some synergy in what you were trying to make sure you had at the top of the list for the day. And it served me well for 30 years at this point.
Yeah, you mentioned the hey, where did the day go? And I've heard a lot of variations of that, like, man, I wish there were more hours in the day.
Yeah.
And my reaction to that is always like, why? You would just fill them up.
Yeah. Or would you actually do the right things? Because I really do think that when it's that whole vacation experience, right? I remember always the day before vacation, I felt like I could do a week's worth of work because you were really adamant that you actually didn't want anybody calling you, and that you wanted to come back with a clean desk, not come back to things piled up. And so you do tend to work harder when you know there's a limited amount of time. And I think that many times in today's world, we have to trick ourselves almost into that until we actually build the muscle and the habit, right, of creating some time structures, time batching, tasks. That's a big thing for me too, is like not feeling like I have to go post on social media every day, or create videos. It's like, how can you batch things so that you feel creative, intentional, purposeful, and then pass them, right? The dump it, get it out of your head. What are you going to do and what are you going to delegate comes from some of the structures of using this time management stuff that we're talking about.
So let's take a little bit of a left turn here and start talking about, well, what is it all for? Let's talk about the financial goals that we're trying to accomplish here. And one of the things that you talk about are specific revenue goals, how to set 5 revenue goals and why. So what are these 5 goals and why do we need to set them?
Yeah, so I love this. It's my favorite pillar in the new book. It's aligned around flow, and the beginning of the book opens with vision, which is, what is the life that you want to create? And so many people today are shooting for I want 7 figures, I want to hit 100,000. They have this like imaginary number that they make up, but they don't really know why they want to hit it. And so the structure of having more than one revenue goal is to really lean into and neutralize. I think it's one of my superpowers. It's helping people neutralize the numbers, which is first understanding what it is you need the business to do from a profitability perspective so that you can actually contribute to your lifestyle, right? If you're a single, you're responsible for all of the lifestyle. All of the overhead of your personal life comes from you. If you're in a relationship and partnered, then you need to know from that partnership perspective, what is it that's required for you to bring to the table, whether that's a job and you're bringing home a paycheck, or you've turned that skill set into a business and now you've got to generate the profits to actually support the partnership, and you're pulling with whatever percentage that is. So the first revenue goal is, can you cover your business overhead and make your contribution to the lifestyle? And that's the first. It can't be anything less than this, people. Like, it's this or something more. I call it opening the container. But you can't know what that number is for your revenue if you don't do the work and take some time to look diligently at what is the personal lifestyle, not just the bills with due dates. I call that the yellow pad version of budgeting, where you're writing down the mortgage or the rent and the car insurance and the Verizon bill. It's like, no, you got to go deeper than that. You've got to look at things that actually come once a year. Maybe you have contact lenses and they renew, you put your renewal in once a year, or the kids go to camp, or, you've got things, all of your spending that's happening, all of that you got to look under the hood, see what the lifestyle is, and then blend that in with your business overhead and create your revenue goal with the tax liability, by the way, included, so that you know that that's your minimum. And then it's different for everybody. The second step up in your next revenue goal is aligned with whether you have a personal emergency fund, whether you have cash reserves for the business, which would be, should be 3 to 6 months of cash reserves, including the paycheck that you need to be taking for yourself. So that if there is a high, a low, a COVID pandemic that happens, that you're prepared, the business is prepared to make it and have the runway that you need to get to that next level or make it through challenging times, right? So the 5 revenue goals really come from some strategy around where you want to be taking those dollars before they get here. For some people, they may already have cash reserves, but the next step is they need to up their retirement to have more tax strategy. Maybe it's paying back debt that they've taken on for the business or personally student loan debt. Whatever that is, everybody's 5 will be different, but the flow of how you're creating the milestones, I call them guideposts, allow you to have an idea before the money arrives, where you're going to have it go. And then you start to structure your aligned actions and the business design to align with hitting those goals. And then celebrate as you're leaning from 1 to 5. Entrepreneurs don't celebrate enough, right? So when we hit 1, we're actually taking the time to acknowledge that we hit it, not looking so far out and saying, but I have so much further to go.
Nice. I love that. So one more time, a quick summary. What are these 5 goals?
Yeah, so the first revenue goal is it's this or something more. It can't be less than what you need for the lifestyle and the business overhead.
Got it.
Number 2, know what the next step is in your business and in your lifestyle. Do you have cash reserves for your personal emergencies or cash reserves for the business to be able to sustain itself 3 to 6 months if there's fluctuations, or you get taken out of the business, for example? The third step up would be looking at debt strategy. If you've got debt to repay, or you're looking to, maybe there's no debt, you're looking to up level the business, make improvements, bring on new scale, bring on employees. That would be your third step up. And then you get into tax strategies as step number 4. How do you keep more of the money that you're making? And number 5 is the sky's the limit.
Nice. I love
the
that.
Jet.
It all kind of builds on each other, kind of moving on.
Yes, absolutely.
And so, Michelle, how can we learn more about what you do? Who do you serve, and what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Yeah, so as a business advisor, I support ambitious entrepreneurs really with this clear approach to building a profitable business. And the way that they can lean in and start to learn about what that looks like is to grab a copy of The Path to Profits. I'm super, super excited. The American Business Awards just gave me a bronze award, 3 of them for the book, being Best Business Book of the Year, Best Business Ebook of the Year. So that's pretty exciting. And I think it's a really good way for any entrepreneur, aspiring entrepreneur, advancing, emerging, to jump in and really get an essence of what this path, the envisioned path to profits, is about. The other way that people can reach me is I did launch a membership, the Envision and Thrive Academy for Entrepreneurs. It's a monthly membership where I come in and mentor along with other guest experts. I show up once a week. We have a community Facebook page, so there's a community aspect to it. And it allows anybody that is really looking for mentorship to be able to say yes without making advanced business decisions at the startup phase, right? They can come in and join a community and really get both the networking, the mentorship, ask questions, and also learn from guest experts, people like yourself that, come to the table and bring their level of expertise into the community. And then the other way is one-on-one. I do business consultancy where people, if they want me to deep dive with them in their business, I can work with them over a 6-month period or 12-month period, or they can come here to Naples, Florida and do a weekend immersion with me where the whole entrepreneur comes in and stays with me for 3 days. And we work one-on-one on whatever piece of strategy they need to work through in their business. And they can find all of that on my website at michellejacobik.com.
Excellent. I appreciate that. So quite a wide variety there of different avenues and different levels of support for that.
Yeah.
So awesome. Thank you so much for coming on here. Michelle Jacobik, everybody, for sharing wisdom about how she gets things done, and how to set the right 5 goals for your revenue and finances. So we're going to wrap up from here. If you're interested in learning more about Michelle, you can go to michellejacobik.com to see her variety of offerings that she has there. So, and also, if you listen to us on your morning commute or your workout, or you're out in the field somewhere, be sure to snap a selfie and tag me at JT Literally. Tell me what you do in the do zone. Also, if you're ready to take your business and break that 7-figure barrier, but you know what got you here ain't going to get you there, we can help. Go to imfactor1.com now, and let's see how much impact we can make in less than 6 minutes. Know this, you are Factor One for your own success. Now let's get to work.